Good afternoon and welcome back to Discovering Truth. This video is just going to be for fun. I had a girl that I was interested in a while back, and she was a huge Taylor Swift fan. And in order to get to know her better, I thought, well, I'll get to know Taylor Swift. And so I started listening to a lot of her songs. And one of the things that she said that she loved about Taylor Swift was that she puts like decodes or little messages in her songs for her fans to look for. Well, I'm all about that. I love the different comms that you get from Trump and Q and the White Hats and all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, well, let me start looking for some, and then I could share them with her. And well, I never asked her out. She's moved on, seems to be very happy, so all's good. But I still have the research that I've done on Taylor Swift. One of the things I noticed is, and this is now one of my favorite songs, called All Too Well. She's got a 10-minute version, and if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, you might not understand or know these verses and the songs as well. But anyway, I want to go through, because what I had noticed is in her song All Too Well, almost all of her other songs relate to that song. So Taylor Swift songs, they all tell a story. Usually it's about, I don't know if it's Taylor Swift's past or just a girl's past, but they all seem to relate together, and you can combine them all and fit them into the song All Too Well. And again, not all of them. I don't know all of her songs, but the ones that I've studied and listened to, I've found that I can place quite a few of them. So with this video, I'm going to go through just All Too Well. I'm not going to sing. You don't want to hear me sing. But I'm going to go through the lyrics and kind of give a breakdown of the storyline of this couple. Okay? So it starts out, I walked through the door with you. The air was cold. Something about it felt like home somehow. I left my scarf there at your sister's house, and you still got it in your drawer even now. So I think this was her first date with this guy. And as you'll see later in the song, the relationship was the older guy with the younger girl. So I'm picturing she's probably a teenager, and he's probably 18, 19 at this time. As the relationship moves on, there's still that gap between them. And you'll see as we go on. So then she says, she goes, oh, your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze. I think this might be the first time they had slept together. It could also be, though, just her looking at him like, oh, he's so great, he's so wonderful, because he's an older man. Next, she says, we're singing in the car, getting lost upstate. There's a song I'm going to talk to later on, and talks about New York, which would be upstate. Autumn leaves falling down like pieces into place, and I can picture it after all these days. She's remembering back. This whole song is her remembering back about this relationship. So she can remember the days when they were boyfriend, girlfriend. I know it's long gone, and that magic's not here no more. I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. So she's not handling this breakup very well. Because there we are again on that little town street. You almost ran the red because you were looking over at me. Wind in my hair. I was there. I remember it all too well. Again, this is when they were boyfriend, girlfriend, driving in the car. Photo album on the counter. Your cheeks were turning red. You used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-sized bed. So, and your mother's telling stories about you and your t-ball team. So she's meeting the parents, first time meeting the parents. They're showing the photo album, embarrassing him. Look how little he was, you know. Let's see. You taught me about your past, thinking your future was me. So she's, you know what it's like when a couple meets the parents for the first time. It's like, oh, we're official. And you were tossing me the car keys, F the patriarchy, keychain on the ground. We were always skipping town. So they used to go driving, and even though she's younger, he would let her drive. And that probably made her feel special, made her feel important. Um, and then, but if she shows it driving, showing that shows the keys being dropped on the ground, showing her youth and inexperiencedness. We were skipping town, and I was thinking on the down, anytime now he's gonna say it's love. You never called it what it was. So she's in love with this guy, and he's not so much, and he's not gonna go there with her to call it love. Till we were dead and gone and buried, check the pulse and come back swearing it's the same after 3 months in the grave. So if you go back, basically they broke up. She's now remembering when they broke up, and yet it's done, it's over with, and now he wants her back. So now he says he loves her. I put on here this the song "Back to December." He missed her, told her he thought that it was love in that song. In that song though, it's the opposite. She's going to him, wanting to apologize, worry about how she messed up in December, but this is the reverse with him going to her. And then you wondered where it went as I reached for you. So they, after 3 months, he says, "Oh, I love you. Let's get back together." She ends up sleeping with him, but he realized he didn't love her and that it was all a mistake. And that's the part, she reached for him. That's them sleeping together again. But all I felt was shame. That would be the shame after he's like, no, it was just a one-time thing. And you held my lifeless frame. So she realized she shouldn't have slept with him that night. And I know it's long gone, and there's nothing else I could do, and I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to. That's kind of sucks when you do break up with somebody. Like, you finally get the point where you're over them, and then memories come back up. Because there we were again in the middle of the night. We're dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. Down the stairs, I was there. I remember it all too well. I think this was like the prom. Because in all movies, you see that scene where they're coming down the stairs in their gown and the guy's standing there waiting to, so I think that's the prom. And after the prom, they're back at probably his place, dancing around the kitchen at night. Let's see, 8 minutes. And there we are again. No. So every time she says "there we are again," she's remembering back to a time in their relationship. When nobody had to know, you kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. So she's in love with him from the very beginning, but he couldn't say anything. He wanted to keep it secret. So she's remembering the very, very beginning of the relationship at this point. Sacred prayer, and we'd swear to remember it all too well. So she was praying, let this guy be the one, And this was back before she even told her family that they were together. Probably because she was underage. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much. She's wanting everything. But maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. So she's still seeing that he's the one that broke this all up. It could have been great. It could have been wonderful. And lost in translation, they were seeing it from two different angles. Running scared, I was there. I remember it all too well. Let's see. She wanted it to be forever, but he wanted it just to be a fun young girlfriend. And you can call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. So, because he doesn't have any attachment, it's no big deal for him to keep calling her up and saying, "Hey, let's go back out. Hey, I miss you. Let's be together one more time." But for her, it's like, no, this is hurtful. And then she goes, "I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here," because she writes her thoughts down. That's how she writes her songs. She's writing about her life. And he can't make up his mind. He keeps asking her to be with her, and then the results are he doesn't. Because I remember it all too well. They say it's all. They say all wells. Let me read this right. They say all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell every time you double cross my mind. So every time she thinks back, she hurts even more over this. Um, and you said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine. So she was way too young for him, and he's now using that excuse of why they can't be together, even though that's what he was out for to begin with. And you made me want to die. The idea you had of me, who was she? A never needy, ever lovely jewel. So the idea he had, it wasn't about her. He just wanted someone that needed him, someone that was, a beautiful young lady. That's what he was looking for, and that's all he was looking for. Whose shine reflects on you. So she's this great looking girl, makes him look really good, right? Then she goes on, not weeping in a party bathroom, some actress asking me what happened, you. That's what happened, you. So the girl's asking after, what happened with you guys? He's what happened. He's the problem. She blames him for all of that, which he should. And that goes into after the relationship that the song Anti-Hero. You who charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes, sipping coffee like you're on a late night show. So remember in the beginning, they had to keep their relationship a secret. Well, there's several songs that that she has that relates to this part of it, where Romeo and Juliet is one of them that she does, where, hey, we're together, but my dad's not okay with it. So this is like, hey, this is how he got good with dad. This is how he got dad to be okay with them being together. But then he watched me watch the front door all night, willing you to come, and he said, it's supposed to be fun, turning 21. So they broke up on her 21st birthday. He didn't show up. He was supposed to. That's when they broke up. So he's probably, 26, 27 at this point? Time won't fly. It's like I'm paralyzed by it. So she just can't let any of this go. I'd like to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it. She spent her teenage years up to 21 with this guy. So she's like, I don't know anything other than him. So she doesn't know how to go figure out who she is, which then goes into the later songs also. Let's see. But I'm still trying to find it. After plaid shirt days and nights when you made me your own. So this is the nights that they slept together, probably secretly, without their parents knowing. Now you make back my things and I walk home alone. So he won't even take them to her. Like, I'm done with you. Sorry I missed your 21st birthday. Here's your stuff. But you keep my old scarf from that very first week, so their first date. It reminds you of innocence. Again, she's underage. And it smells like me. You can't get rid of it because you remember it all too well. So then she goes on. There we are again, when I loved you so, back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known. So she's showing that, look, I was in love with you. We could have had something great, and you tore it down. It was rare. I was there. I remember it all too well. She says it was rare, but it's really not a rare thing. If you look all throughout history, there's all kinds of situations with an older guy with a younger girl. I mean, there's tons of men in prison because of that. So, let's see. Wind in my hair, you were there, you remember it all. Down the stairs, you were there, you remember it all. It was rare, I was there. So she keeps remembering back to those driving in the car with him, coming down the stairs at prom for him. All of those memories keep running through her head. And then she goes on to her next line. And I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline goes, older, but your lovers stay my age. So he says he breaks up with her. The excuse is well, if we were closer in age, then it would have worked. Except for he's still trying to date younger girls. So it's an excuse that he gives her. From when your Brooklyn broke my skin and bones, I'm a soldier who's returning half her weight. So, is she getting depression right now? A lot of people in depression don't eat. Um, and did the twin flame bruise paint you blue? Just between us, did the love affair maim you too? So it's ruined her life, yet he's moved on with no issues. And she's asking the question, she goes, didn't this hurt you? Didn't this bother you? She goes, because in this city's barren cold, I still remember the first fall snow, their first winter together, and how it glistened as it fell. I remember it all too well. She's probably remembering like their first Christmas together. Just between us, did the love affair maim you all too well? And then she goes on into repeating the rest of it. The wind in my hair, the down the stairs, sacred prayer, all of that. It's a really heartfelt song. And that's probably why I like it so much. And so now I'm going to go into some of the songs. I can't break each song down. We would be here forever. Maybe I'll do a really long one where I go through the lyrics of all these other songs. Put it in the comments if you'd like me to do that. So for those that know Taylor Swift songs, I'm just going to give the titles and then give what part of All Too Well it relates. The song You Belong With Me, that was before they were together. Fearless, that's when she's finally going to ask him out. She's still scared, but she's going to do it. Paper Rings, that's when she did ask him out and they start seeing each other. Again, because Paper Rings is not talking about being married, but it's talking about being together, and yet it's just it's still young. So paper rings are okay, that kind of thing. Mirror Ball, that's the prom. August is their first time together. Love Story. This is in All Too Well when he talks to her dad. So Timeless, I don't have that marked down where that's at in All Too Well, but that's after, these are all in order. So that's after she talks to dad, but before they're going to New York. The next song then is Cornelia Street. And this is, Cornelia Street is in New York, and they spoke about that going upstate. Next would be They Broke Up, so now it's back to December. And this is from his perspective when he tried to get back together with her, rather than the song, which is from her perspective getting back together with him. So it flips it a little bit. Sparks Fly. This is their first time back together after they broke up. Call It What You Want. The 3 months back together after they broke up, that's this period. Everyone is telling her not to be with him, but all she sees is she's in love with him. The Archer. This is anger from the break. You're on Your Own, Kid. This is when she's realizing that he never really loved her. Blank Space. She doesn't get serious about relationships anymore. So this is long after the song, after the breakup. Shake It Off. She just decides, you know what, I'm just going to go have fun from now on. So she's having fun with relationships at the expense of guys because that's what happened to her. Gorgeous, same as the one above. She's just having fun. Don't blame me. Again, she's having fun. The One. She's finally feeling like she can move on, yet the thought of what could have been still lingers. She still misses the other guy, even though she's like, this guy's really great. He could be the one, but I'm not over him yet in my mind. Champagne Problems. She gets engaged, but runs out on the wedding. Again, this is all after All Too Well now. Getaway Car. This is her explanation for running out of the wedding. Daylight. Her initial feelings for her husband-to-be, but she still thinks of 2 trips to upstate New York with him. The Way I Loved You. She meets her husband, and so she meets the guy. He becomes her husband. They have kids together, but she's still thinking of the old relationship. Anti-Hero. This is the regret of the rest of her life choices. After they had split up, and all the way up onto her death. So from the time that they broke up, she goes out and parties, and then she meets the guy that becomes her husband. They have kids together, and yet at the same time, because she's so destructive from because of that breakup when she was 21, her life has become so destructive. She doesn't really treat anybody right, and so anti-hero is all about, hey, I'm the problem, I'm the one that caused the issues, and yeah, you're probably going to leave me soon, and that'll just ruin my life again, even worse. um, LOML, so love of my life, or it could also be what was the other thing I was told? Love of my life, or I can't remember what the other thing it could stand for. I apologize. But it's similar to All Too Well, but it's from a slightly different perspective. And then All Too Well is remembering their life together when they were together. Um, All Too Well is almost like, so anti-hero goes into her death, okay? And All Too Well is, while in death, her remembering back on all the different things that happened in her life because of that guy. So, what do I got here? 27, 26, 27 songs that all relate to All Too Well. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about all this, but I seem to find all these connections in that song. And yeah, I guess that's it for right now. Let me know what you think. Give me a like, subscribe. If you're a Taylor Swift fan, let me know where I'm totally way off base, or let me know if I'm right on. You know, I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie, as some people are, but I can recognize the talent that she has for sure. The way she can piece all of these other songs into that song, or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe she wrote all these songs and you're like, oh, I'll write a song that relates to all of them. I'm not sure. I don't know her well enough. Maybe this was part of her life. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just a story that she made up in her head. Regardless, she's a very talented artist. So I will say goodbye. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the show, and have a blessed day.